pimp, not a simp. A pimp, not a simp. A pimp, not a simp. We eat so many shrimp. I got iodine partners.
My bitch a choosing lover, never fuck without a rubber. Never in the streets like it on top of the cover. Money on the dresser, drive a compressor. Top notch hoes, get the most, not the lesser. Trash like the fuck for $40 in the club. Fucking up the game, bitch, it gets no love. She be cross country, giving all that she got. 1,000 a pop, I'm pulling business off the lot. I smashed up the gray one, bought me a red. Every time we hit the parking lot, we turn head. Some hoes wanna choose, but them bitches too scary. Your bitch chose me, you ain't a pimp, you a fairy.
A pimp, not a simp. A pimp, not a simp. A pimp, not a simp. We eat so many shrimp. I got iodine partners.
Baby, you been rolling solo, time to get down with the team. The grass is greener on that other side, if you know what I mean. I show you shit you never seen, the 7 wonders of the world. And I can make you the 8th if you wanna be my girl. I say my girl, I don't mean my woman, that ain't my style. Need a real street stalker, walk a green mile. Piling up the paper on the dining room table, cause you able to realize I'm the truth and not a fable. Baby, rockin' Russian sable, keep that chiller on the rack. What I look like with some $1,000 shit up on my back. I'm $1 million man, they need $1 billion bitch. Put my pimpin' in your life, watch your daddy get rich. Easy as ABC, simple as 1, 2, 3. Get down with UGK, Pimp CBU with B. Cause what's a hoe with no pimp, and what's a pimp with no hoe? Don't be a lame, you know the game and how it goes. We try to get toes.
A pimp, not a simp. A pimp, not a simp. A pimp, not a simp. We eat so many shrimp. I got iodine partners.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Artie of Artie's Corporate Fiction, back with you again for a wonderful Sunday night of chilling, playing, and watching. Tonight we're going to take a look at, you guys can take a look at the infamous case of Jodi Arias, brought to us by JCS. Shout out to them. It's a great channel. Please go sub to them if you haven't already. I imagine y'all want to get my take on this entire phenomenon. It's 2 hours long, so we're not going to get through the entirety of the thing, I don't think. But it's going to be an interesting and wild ride. So I have watched this, but it was a long time ago, and I never really followed the Jodi Arias trial or anything like that. So my knowledge on it is still pretty limited, but it's going to be kind of crazy, I imagine. So let's get this up, and then I'm going to get Elden Ring put together.
In the year 1980, on Wednesday the 9th of July at exactly 11:54 p.m., a little girl named Jodi Ann Arias was born in the city of Salinas, California, and completely unbeknownst to her doting parents, was destined to become one of the most infamous people in the United States of America.
Aww.
And there was much rejoicing.
From what we know about her behavioral sequences, and despite what her defense team would later want you to believe, there's virtually nothing in Jodi's childhood that can be linked as a contributing factor to what she would eventually be capable of. The only thing worth mentioning was that she dropped out of high school in the 11th grade to pursue a career in photography, but it went nowhere. In February of 2006, at 26 years of age, she began a new job as a salesperson for a network marketing company called Prepaid Legal, and it was through this occupation where she crossed paths with fellow sales representative Travis Alexander, a 28-year-old practicing Mormon from Arizona, who also worked part-time as a motivational speaker.
When you get someone to the briefing, they say no, that counts. When you get someone fully exposed and they say no, that counts. Every time you get one of those, cross one off the list. By the time the 100th one's crossed off the list, you won't be able to spend the money.
He was a very charismatic young man, which immediately caught Jodi's attention. They met at a business conference in September of 2006 and began a curious relationship from that point forward. To cut a long story short, Jodi was in love, and Travis was not. They broke up after just 5 months, but soon after the split, Jodi moved from her grandparents' home in Yreka, California, into an apartment just 2 blocks from Travis's house in Mesa, Arizona. She was at that moment labeled the crazy stalker ex by all of Travis's friends, and although Travis agreed, he would continue having sex with her out of pure convenience.
No! No! Oh, come... Oh, God, why? Bro! That's the one thing you don't do! Oh, God, here we go.
She would show up unannounced on countless occasions, sometimes in the middle of the night, and Travis would let her in every time. It became somewhat of a routine, and a dysfunctional situation that neither were happy with. Travis, although he enjoyed the sex, essentially wanted her out of his life, while Jodi desperately wanted a serious relationship. And going off the myriad of entries in her diary, she firmly held on to the belief that they were meant to be together.
Oh, God.
In late May of 2008, however, she would ultimately have a change of heart. Travis had a work retreat planned to Cancun, Mexico for July 10th. It was all paid for by his employer and allowed him to take a friend with him. Jodi knew about this and believed, or at the very least hoped, that she would be the one going. Yet in the last week of May, it became known that Travis was taking another woman instead. A Mormon girl by the name of Mimi Hall, someone that Travis had been romantically interested in for some time. When Jodi found out, it would be safe to assume that she was heartbroken. It would be even safer to assume that she was absolutely enraged. And the collective opinion is that a specific thought process began to emerge in her mind. One that forged a psychological justification for a certain decision. On June 4th, 2008, 6 days before Travis was set to leave for Mexico, Jodi would once more show up unannounced. All we know for sure is that they had sex and took explicit pictures of each other using Travis's new camera. At roughly 5 p.m., Travis would get in the shower and Jodi would begin taking pictures of him using the same camera. Then, moments after this picture was taken, Jodi would stab Travis a total of 27 times.
Jesus!
She would also cut his throat and shoot him in the face. During the onslaught, Travis's camera took 2 accidental photographs. The first was taken as Jodi dropped it during the onset of the attack. The second was taken as she kicked it by mistake while moving Travis's body. It showed Jodi's foot and a fatally wounded or deceased Travis. The amount of time that passed from the 2 photographs was 62 seconds. Jodi then spent an estimated 45 minutes cleaning down the crime scene to make sure none of her DNA was left behind. This included wiping down the victim's body with a cup of water and a cloth. She also deleted the pictures from Travis's camera before throwing it in the washing machine. She would then drive back out into the desert and leave Travis a voicemail for the purpose of placing herself away from the crime scene and giving herself an alibi.
I know Leslie called you, so I already talked to her, so you can call her back if you want, but it's not necessary. My phone died, so I wasn't getting back to you.
Yeah, this is a wild one.
And what else? Oh, and I drove 100 miles in the
Dr. Mania.
100 miles, thank you very much. So yeah, remember New Mexico? It was a lot like that. Only you weren't here to prevent me from going into the 3 digits. So fun. Tell you all about that later. Also, we were talking about, when we were talking about your upcoming travels my way, I was looking at the May calendar, so I'm all confused. But Heather and I are going to see Othello on July 1st, and we would love for you to accompany us. Let me know, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. End of message.
Jodi would then drive to another man's house in Utah by the name of Ryan Burns and stayed the night. He would later testify that nothing seemed off about Jodi's behavior, only that they kissed and engaged in sexual intercourse. Travis's body was discovered by Mimi and her friends 5 days later, the day before.
God, imagine being that guy, knowing that you boink someone who just committed murder a couple hours ago. That's gotta mess with your head.
Before they were supposed to leave to Cancun together.
How long were you there trying to get into the house?
Oh, they got trial footage.
A couple of minutes. I banged on the door, rang the doorbell over and over again. Nobody answered. I was scared that something might be happening to him because I knew that he had a stalker. Travis's friend on the phone suggested that we go in through the garage and look for him in the house. And then as soon as they said that they saw blood, that there's blood everywhere, I stopped looking and said, he's dead. And so immediately I called the police.
After the news of Travis's death broke the following day, Jodi called the police and offered to help with the investigation. She was then transferred to the lead detective, Esteban Flores of the Mesa Police Department. The most notable detail of the phone call was that Jodi agreed to provide a sample of her DNA. Over the following month, forensics were able to uncover the deleted photos from Travis's camera, and despite her best efforts, discovered Jodi's DNA all over the crime scene. During this time, oblivious to the evidence that was building against her, Jodi would post multiple pictures of her and Travis on Facebook, alongside emotional messages to Travis himself. She even sent his family flowers and a letter expressing her grief over his death. The Mesa Police Department launched their case against Jodi on July 15th. 41 days after the murder. Detective Flores would be the one to conduct her interrogation. He had spoken with her once over the phone and was present when she was fingerprinted and swabbed for DNA. The Siskiyou County Police arrested Jodi at her grandparents' house at 7:35 a.m. and only said they had a warrant for her arrest without giving further information. She was placed in handcuffs and didn't once ask what she was being arrested for in the 6-minute drive to the local police station. What makes Jodi Arias stand out among the many cases in the realm of true crime is the manner in which she attempts to navigate the system. She seems to believe that if she presents herself in a certain way and adopts a very specific character with very specific traits, it will give her the best chance at evading the consequences of her actions. In her mind, this character is a soft-spoken, sweet-natured, God-fearing individual. Yet to everyone else, is quite possibly the most universally annoying person to ever abide in the history of existence.
Jesus, JCS with the savagery. Quite possibly the most annoying person ever. Wow. Meanwhile.
In the next moment, Jodi will hear Detective Flores approaching the room. She will then abruptly place her head on the table to make it appear as if she's sleeping. She will now notice the detective has instead walked past the room and then revert back to her regular sitting position.
So she's already starting with the acting skills.
Appear as if she's in a far calmer state than she actually is. She wants the detective to believe that she's relaxed enough to doze off, when she is in fact extremely alert and anticipating his arrival. She places her head back on the table to feign a placid state once more, and you'll notice her left shoulder hovers in what looks like a very uncomfortable position for just over a minute. She then hears the external door open, at which point she takes a deep breath and then fully rests onto the table.
See, this reminds me of her story right here.
Yeah, let me get those off you. So you remember me?
Of course I do.
I traveled all the way up here to come talk to you. Because, yeah, I've been working on Travis's case ever since it happened. Okay, and I know exactly when it happened, when he was killed. I know a lot of details, and just recently we found quite a bit of evidence, and I'll discuss that with you. The main thing that I'm looking for, though, is answers on why certain things happened, and why they went so far, and also to get your statements.
Okay.
She's been brought to a police station in handcuffs and now just told her arrest is concerning the death of her ex-lover. An innocent person sitting in her position would want immediate clarification as to what exactly is going on. Jodi doesn't inquire further, just gently accepts to cooperate after being given a very vague, yet highly accusive clarification of the situation.
A lot of details on this case that haven't been released to the public. And
now compare what's being done here. Like, I like to compare how she acts with, if you guys remember that I showcased that video of the two innocent individuals from JCS and how they acted when they were accused.
Not even to Travis's family. And those details are known only by us and the person who did it. Okay, and that's one of the reasons I'm here, because I believe that you know some of these details. And I think you can help us.
I would love to help you in any way that I can.
Okay.
Okay.
Because we're here at the police department, the sheriff's department here in, was it Siskiyou County?
Siskiyou.
It was called. Okay. and you're considered under arrest or detained, you're not free to go. And I'm a police officer. I have to read you your rights. Okay, I'm sure you've heard them on TV. You know, I have to read them off this little card here, but they're pretty much the same, and I'll explain them to you as we go. Okay. And you know, if there's a question that you don't want to answer, you don't feel comfortable, you can say no. You know, or you know, you can elaborate as much as you want. It's completely up to you. It's at your speed. I don't want to pressure you.
Is this recorded at all, or should we?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a recording or anything.
I don't know if these are voice recorders. I noticed them. If they have video, or if they have audio, or batteries, or what.
I don't think they're on.
Hindsight allows us to recognize this is simply an attempt to appear innocent.
Yeah.
She seems to think that if she appears confident enough to recommend the use of an outdated voice recorder, that it will seem as though she has nothing to hide in the eyes of the detective. But it's just bizarre. If the detective wasn't already certain of Jodi's guilt, he would most certainly become suspicious at this moment.
Very really cool.
It's okay. Yeah, I haven't touched those or anything, but
oh, okay.
Jodi's mind would be racing here, yet she desperately wants her exterior self to appear calm. She's so focused on having this nonchalant disposition that she completely fails to realize her behavior doesn't match the situation whatsoever. She's in a state of hyperarousal while feigning a state of composure, and the end result just looks very strange. It gives reason for her unusual infatuation with a voice recorder, and also for her oncoming sitting position, which really can't be described.
Look, my thing is that, again, as always, we say she should be getting a lawyer at this point, but we have already been through this process before. Many people with her kind of personality and her yeah, basically someone with her personality, she thinks that she's good enough to get out of this on her own and doesn't even think twice about not having an attorney with her or remaining silent, right? She thinks she can talk her way out of this.
Only compared to a sea lion peeking over a rock.
And they're not on, so...
Sea lion peeking over a rock.
Just get to the bottom of it. Everybody wants to know. Okay, and I'm going to ask you some questions. You can voluntarily answer them if you want. Okay, is that cool?
Yeah, that's fine.
There was some question about you being. Well, let's start with this. What have you been up to since Travis's death? Well, what have you been doing?
Well, I've been working. I haven't been really working in prepaid legal. There's not a whole lot here in this marketplace, which is...
It's kind of small here.
It's small here, and really that could be seen as an opportunity rather than a hindrance, because that just means the market is untapped in a large way. So I could have, if I wanted to, but I'm kind of like a deer in the headlights when it comes to prepaid legal. I just have a fear of just approaching people.
You'll come to notice that Jodi will go off on these unrelated tangents anytime she has the slightest chance to do so. It's a recurring theme in interrogations for when the suspect is facing serious charges, and the common theory is that it's an attempt at gaining a momentary escape from what is likely the most terrifying moment of their life. Going into detail about topics completely unrelated to the situation at hand essentially delays the onset of their new reality.
Yeah, it's
Forensic
the escapism.
Psychology views this as a form of denial. The detective subtly nudges her away from
I feel like it's like their own temporary escapism.
She starts
to
off
pretend
with a Facebook
what's
post
happening
she
to
made in
them
his
isn't what's happening.
I realize looking back on it,
just
kind of
maybe to delay the inevitable.
It's more like my Dear Travis kind of letter, and so I took it down because yeah, some of it was details, a little bit more personal, not too personal, nothing inappropriate. Just I just felt funny. I think because I'm a photographer, I tend to communicate more through pictures, so I posted a ton of pictures that I had of him, and I have a ton more that I just can't access right now, and videos and things that I know his family would want, but
She then explains how it's hard to talk about Travis's death with the guy she's now dating.
And we've been talking a lot, and we try not to talk about that because it's kind of like, ugh. And plus, Travis is my ex-boyfriend, but at the same time, he's my friend. So while I'm mourning my friend, how do you talk to your new potential possible maybe person that you might start dating about your friend, even though he was your ex-boyfriend. So it's kind of a gray area.
The detective knows she'll happily trail off until the morning comes, so he cuts her off and locks her into the situation at hand.
And I've talked to a lot of people, and everybody's pointing a finger at you. You know, everybody is saying, I don't understand what happened to Travis. I don't know who killed him. But you need to look at Jodi. And sometimes the simplest answers are the correct ones.
One of the most fascinating parts of this interrogation is how long the detective allows Jodi to cling on to hope. For the first 45 minutes, she will be terrified, yet still believe there's a chance she will be going home at the end of it. The detective will hint at her suspicions and culpability in a gradual manner, yet not directly accuse her until a much later stage. Dangling the idea of hope above someone's head while simultaneously hinting at the grim future that awaits them would perhaps be considered cruel in most other...
Yeah, like, so it's like dangling the bit of hope while also having, like, the guillotine on the other hand.
circumstances. Yet on this occasion, it is tolerated for a tactical purpose, which is to allow for as much divulgence from the suspect as possible. Her fear will cause her to panic, not enough to the point where she completely locks up, but just enough so that she continuously tries to claw at her own salvation, and in the process will divulge information that will be extremely damaging to her defense later on.
And
yeah,
that's
guys.
one of the reasons I started.
By the way, guys, I'm 30 away from 10,000. If we hit 10,000 during the stream, I guess I may or may not have some special videos to showcase. So hey, tell your friends, please share the video, share the live stream, hit that like button. All the best. Thanks, guys.
Looking at you a little bit closer, and over the last month or so, I've gotten into Travis's life, talked to all his friends, his family. I got a really good understanding of who he is now, and I got a very good understanding of your relationship with him. Obviously, you weren't boyfriend and girlfriend anymore, but you were still.
I'm co-op. I'm in a co-op, Deacon.
Which.
Does his family know about that? Just curious.
No, his family doesn't know anything. Yeah.
I'm interested in protecting how he's remembered as well, and.
Just for the purpose of integrated context, at Jodi's trial, she would label Travis a sexual deviant, a domestic abuser, and a pedophile.
Oh. Jeez.
Really
wow.
For you. And for some reason, he felt that the relationship between you and him was somewhat unhealthy, but he couldn't stop it. And I assume that's probably maybe the same way you felt about him, or
it's probably,
maybe you didn't understand why he didn't believe it was healthy.
No, I didn't think it was healthy either, spiritually at least, and probably emotionally, but mostly spiritually. And I think that kind of, once you have something that's not healthy spiritually, it filters through all aspects of your life.
Her dialogue alters from spirituality to her work history and then to her finances before moving on to her family. Bear in mind she wasn't asked about any of this.
Financially, I wasn't doing well. I missed my family. I moved away shortly after high school, and I come back to visit, but I realized over the years I've missed out on a lot of things. My little brother and sister missed out on just
I dodged that.
Karate or their baseball or cheerleading or.
The detective nudges her back to the subject of Travis once more. He asks if the sexual element combined with his religion was the reason the relationship didn't work. Jodi then takes it upon herself to recount her sex life history and simultaneously preach about her own devotion to the Bible.
I've had a couple of serious relationships before where I was intimate with a few people, and it's kind of silly, but I used to always joke that regardless of what the Bible says, and yes, I'm Christian, I just live my life by the 10 Commandments, and those are my rules.
Thou shalt not kill.
You know, thou shalt not this or that, but it doesn't say that. So I just used to joke about that. I remember we knelt by his bed.
Thou shalt not kill? What the fuck?
Surprisingly,
you forget about that one?
Normally, you know, I would suggest that we pray before we go on a trip or before we eat, if we're alone.
That was kind of unusual for him, huh?
Yeah, because he was very resistant to prayer. He's like, so I'd say, will you say a prayer? He's like, why don't you say a prayer? Why don't you say a prayer? Why don't you say a prayer? So we'd go back and forth. Jodi, will you say a prayer? And I said, sure. And Travis was like,
The detective endures as much prayer talk as humanly possible before shifting the topic once more.
He was at a point in his life where he wanted to really start settling down. He felt like he needed to kind of grow up, you know, become a husband, become a father. Did you guys ever discuss possibly getting married or anything?
When we were dating, we did.
Okay.
Once we broke up, he brought it up. He actually proposed to me a lot of times, but he wasn't serious.
Let's move to after the breakup.
Oh, okay.
What kept you in Mesa at that point?
I actually moved to Mesa a few weeks after we broke up.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was a time period you really wasn't seeing anybody, and then Mimi came into the picture. What did you think about her? And
I didn't know a lot about her. She seems like a really nice girl. He showed me her picture on Facebook. You know, I don't think she had a lot of pictures on there. He said that he's not sure why, but he's pretty sure that she could be it. And I was happy for him. I didn't find out about Lisa.
This conversation you had face to face with him?
Yeah,
or?
Yeah, it was in his room. And he had his laptop, you know, just on his bed.
Jodi is desperately trying to make it appear as though her and Travis were on good terms. But this is just overkill. Jodi was labeled the crazy stalker ex by all of Travis's friends, and even Travis himself. The idea that he would show and then discuss any potential future romances with Jodi is ridiculous.
And I truly believe he does love her still.
Oh, he does.
Travis had a...
Oh, he does.
Player.
Oh my God.
You know what that means. Yeah. He kind of
pulls
girls in.
Anybody, though.
He was reluctant to make a commitment first off. And truly, he didn't think that you were marriage material. And
how does that make you feel?
I mean, I see you. You're a wonderful girl. You're struggling. You're trying to make your way through life, and I don't see why you guys couldn't have made it.
I think we have very different philosophies in a lot of ways. We would argue about the dumbest things, and like there were so many times where I just couldn't wrap my mind around what he would. I could, but I would try to get him to do the same for me. Like there was a time when I broke down on the way to LA once, and my car got a flat tire. So I had at the time roadside assistance because my car was still under warranty. And they went to take the car in to change the tire and realized that when they sold me the car, they didn't give me the wheel lock key. And I was kind of hungry. It was dinner time. It was 7:38, and it was dark because it was January. And the tow truck guy said, you know, there's a Denny's 2 blocks down here, and there's a Jack in the Box there, and he was driving me to the motel. I said, is there an IHOP around? Because I really like IHOP. He's like, yeah, but it's kind of like 5 miles back in the other direction. I was like, okay. He was like, I can drive you there if you want. And I was like, he's like this short
at least he got him.
Mexican guy, and he seemed really harmless, and I was like, okay. And
thank you, Carrie.
You know, and I asked him about his life, and he had a wife and kids, and so he wasn't flirting.
The travels of Jodi and the sweet Mexican continues on for another 2 minutes. The detective then brings Jodi's attention to what he already believes was the trigger motive for the murder.
So, now moving over to his trip to Cancun that he was going to. When did you first find out about that he was going with Mimi?
Oh, I found out about that at his memorial services on Monday. It was the Monday night memorial service.
You didn't know he was taking Mimi?
I didn't know that. I think that's awesome, actually.
Right.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, Mimi called him a week or two before, and I told him, look, if you want to take somebody else, it's fine, but I have something to tell you. I don't look at you that way. I don't look at you as a boyfriend. If you want to be friends, we can be friends.
The detective essentially stated that Travis was friend-zoned by Mimi, but he still invited her instead of Jodi anyway.
What kept you to him? I don't understand.
Well, moving is expensive for one. So
what does that say? The fact that, well, what the detective is saying is that even though Mimi, who I imagine Jodi thought was the rival, even though Travis friend-zoned her, he was still willing to take her far more than even think about taking Jodi.
I was there, I was kind of stuck there.
But why do you continue to go back to him? You know what he wants. You know that it's not healthy, but yet you continue to go back.
Yeah.
It brings us to this point where we are now.
Part of my perspective now has to do with the fact that I'm going through a repentance process that I've worked out with, with my bishop, and he's given me, certain scriptures to read and ponder and pray about. And
Preacher Jodi emerges for another 2 minutes, going into detail about scriptures and baptism.
Oh, Mimi I'm sorry. Mimi friend zoned Travis, but he still took her to Cancun anyway over Jodi. Gotcha. That's still cold-blooded.
And starts getting more confrontational with the facts about Jodi's behavior towards Travis.
And obviously you guys kept this relationship hidden from everybody else, and because nobody really knew about it.
Well,
there were some people who I talked to and said, yeah, they continued to have a relationship even after they broke up. And there are others who were saying that you had become obsessive with him to the point to where you would go into his house when he wasn't there, or when you weren't invited, and he would talk to people saying, she just kind of showed up, and I don't want to tell her to leave, but I don't want her here.
Oh, must have been early on, because there were a couple times when we established a rule early on, just don't come over unless, he said, you can come over anytime, but I need to know first.
The detective then starts ramping up the pressure and brings Jodi's alibi and road trip into the discussion.
Was it the week of the first week of June? You took a trip to Salt Lake City. Which route did you take from there?
I was supposed to get on the 15 and go all the way up.
I agree, Deacon.
I somehow got
it was clear that it was definitely a toxic relationship, but it was not toxic enough to warrant murder. Nowhere close to warrant murder. Let's put it that way.
15 for a while, and you ended up getting off the 15 somewhere.
Yeah, I looked at a map, and I'm pretty sure I know where I went. Can I draw you a map?
Sure. So this trip took you a little over 48 hours there. I have a problem with this trip.
Well, I went first too.
Yeah, I know. Okay. I know you went down here. I've gone over this trip over and over in my mind and on paper. And even if there's still 20 some odd hours, even if you pulled over to sleep a couple of times.
Oh, did I tell you that I got stranded?
Yeah.
Okay.
You mentioned that. If you slept for 10 hours,
I only slept for
here and here, it would still leave 18 some odd hours for something else. Okay. This is what people are focusing on, is this trip that you took.
Soltex, I know.
She didn't get to till Thursday. Wednesday? That's when Travis was killed.
I did not go near his house. Aren't there?
I pulled your cell records. Your cell phone was turned off between here and here.
Ooh.
I didn't turn it off physically, but it died.
Oh,
and
okay.
Magically, you found your charger here.
It was packed under the seat of the passenger side, and it was when I was.
When you were lost, you couldn't have maybe pulled over and found it. Or...
Well, I did finally start looking when I was stranded. I wouldn't have pulled over when I was lost.
Detective Flores explains to Jodi multiple times over how the trip doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and whether it's feigned naivety or that she literally doesn't understand the concept of time and distance, she pretends to be confused by the allegation rather than actually confront it. This goes on for 3 minutes before the detective confronts Jodi with the evidence of the photographs on Travis's camera.
But I don't think you're being completely honest with me about that trip.
I honestly got lost. It's bad timing.
Were you at Travis's house on Wednesday?
Absolutely not. I was nowhere near Mesa. I was nowhere near Phoenix. I wasn't even close to him.
Damn it.
What if I could show you proof you were there? that change your mind?
I wasn't there.
You can be honest with me, Jodi.
I was not at Travis's house. I was not.
I mean, at this point,
you were at Travis's house.
Just screaming, shut up and get an attorney.
Sexual encounter.
God.
Which, there's pictures. And I know you know there's pictures. Because I have them.
Woo! You didn't delete them!
Okay.
Don't fuck with forensics!
So, what I'm asking you is for you to be honest with me. I know you were there.
Are you sure those pictures aren't from another time?
Positive.
Yep.
Remember I told you about the camera?
Metadata, baby!
The card's intact. Remember I told you that card was destroyed? I didn't want to tell you the truth. And I have pictures of you in Travis's bedroom with Travis. Pictures of him. And it's obvious you guys are having sex. Taking photos of each other. And they're dated and time-stamped on the day he died.
Are you sure it's me? I mean, that's because I was
Jodi,
not there.
It's you. And you know it's you. I know all the details of this case. The only thing I don't know is why. Why did you choose to go visit Travis that day? And why did you do what you did?
I never
Why,
heard
Jodi?
Travis.
You did. You hurt him. That's why we're here. That's why I flew up here. Because I needed to talk to you about this. I can just arrest you and throw you in jail, but I want to know why. Why did you do this to him?
I wouldn't hurt Travis. He's done so much for me.
I know you took pictures of him in the shower just before he died.
I don't think he would allow that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm so dead.
And the camera actually took a couple of photos by accident during the time he was being killed.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I bet you that really was probably the first genuine expression of emotion she said all evening. That, really? Yeah, really.
Quit playing this game. It's time for you to just come out and
I didn't
tell me.
know. I did not hurt Travis. I did not hurt Travis. I wouldn't do that to him.
The detective then goes on to explain the DNA evidence collected at the crime scene, which includes Jodi's blood mixed with Travis's blood, Jodi's hair, and Jodi's bloody palm print.
You either had blood on your hand and you touched the wall, or there was blood on the wall and you touched the blood.
Could my palm print have already been there and the blood touched it?
Jodi. This is over. This is absolutely over. You need to tell me the truth.
Listen, the truth is I did not hurt Travis.
If you want, I can show you some pictures of him. Do you want to see pictures of him?
Part of me does and part of me doesn't.
Why? Because you don't want to remember?
No, I
Jodi.
just, there's a morbid curiosity.
Jodi.
Oh,
I wanted
God.
to know how he died.
Oh, my God.
Games over and over again. I'm not going to believe you.
Listen,
It's over.
could it have been my blood from
Your
before?
image is not important right now. Saving the rest of your life is.
Listen, if I'm found guilty, I don't have a life. I'm not guilty. I didn't hurt Travis. If I hurt Travis, if I killed Travis, I would beg for the death penalty. It just seems so impossible. I want to see it. I want to know. I mean, I'm not a murderer, but I guess if I were to do that, I would wear gloves or, something. Okay, let's say for a second that I did. And I say, I did it. I mean,
The motive is there, the jealousy issue.
But I wouldn't even say it was jealous. I mean, there may have been some jealousy there, but
then what is it?
Okay, so you conceded that there is jealousy. Lady, why are you consenting to this hypothetical? You're just giving yourself away.
I think if anyone, maybe Travis was jealous, but
that's not what everybody else says. I can prove you were there. I can prove it. But what I don't have is I was thinking of if I did it. She's got it right here next novel. Maybe something just got out of hand. Maybe things got out of hand.
Did you find the gun? Maybe that would.
Jodi, we're just playing games here. I'm gonna take a little break, but I need you to think about what you're doing here. Because the best thing for you to do is to tell me the truth. It's so important that you tell me why this occurred, what was going through your mind, and what caused you to do this. I'll let you think about that. Okay? And I'm gonna go look for some pictures, and I'll bring them over, and we'll continue this discussion. Okay? Let me go find them. I'll be right back.
Tickets, I'm not a murderer.
I'm watching the video. What the fuck is she doing?
What kind of gun is that? Just curious.
It's a Glock.
I just bought a gun.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
You probably found it by now.
Probably. I was taking it somewhere.
These are just a few photos. And I want to be careful not showing you certain photos.
Please
because some of them are...
So my guess here is like what? She's putting this on... she mentioned that to say, well, if I was the murderer, I would have used a gun. Is that what she's going through in her head right now? As an attempt to excuse this? I don't know.
Bad.
If Travis were here today, he would tell you that it wasn't me.
No. My job is to speak for Travis right now. And everything Travis is telling me is that Jodi did this to me. Look at that one. Remember him?
Is he naked?
Yeah.
Yep.
Jodi is then shown one of the pictures that was taken by accident while she was in the process of murdering Travis.
There we go.
That's your foot, Jodi. Those are your pants. No, it's off color because we had to enhance it and the color kind of changes a little bit. That's Travis.
This is his bathroom. That is not my foot.
Couldn't even recognize Travis. He'd been there so long. Do you have any recent cuts that are healing?
Well, my cat scratches me. Little things. These are
Do not bring a kitty into this.
This is her. That's her. I've got scars. She's a feral cat. All these little things are her.
Well, enough about your cat, but there's no doubt in my mind that you were there. There's no doubt in my mind that you did this. None. So you can go until you're blue in the face and tell me you weren't there and you had nothing to do with it. I won't believe you. I want to know why. It's killing me inside. I don't know why.
Like there's no reason for it. There's no reason why. There's no reason I would ever want to hurt
There's
you.
all the
I
reason!
have a solid case against you, and I can present it to the judge. As cold as it is now. I don't know why she did it. Or I can present it to the judge with your explanation.
If I'm found
That's not
guilty,
true.
what happens?
You'll have to pay the price.
Well, what's the price?
I don't know.
Don't you know what the sentences are?
Pretty sure Arizona's got the death penalty.
Depends on your situation, how old you are, depends on the type of crime. It depends on whether you show remorse or not. And part of that remorse is at least coming clean. When somebody doesn't come clean, I don't see any remorse. I know you're afraid, but you're already going through it right now. There's no backing up. There's no backing up to yesterday. There's no backing up to that day. It's already happened. And unfortunately, you're gonna have to face the consequences.
You know, if I did that, I'd be fully ready to face the consequences. I'm not really for things like, you know, I'm all for the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill.
Uh-huh.
Okay? I just can't. I didn't kill Travis. I just didn't. I did not take his life.
You need to come out and tell me why this happened. I will not accept any other excuses. I will just move on with my investigation, with my final report, submitting all the conclusions and all the evidence. And we can just let a judge and a jury decide. We can leave it in the hands of a
What about a lie
jury.
detector test?
We can do that, that's fine.
Would that help me at all?
Lie detector tests are bullshit!
Record, but
Well, then there's no point in taking it.
Yep, pretty much.
back to him and couldn't stop. You couldn't stop. And before you knew it, it was all over. And then you panicked. And then you...
I've never been that angry at him. Not enough for that. I've been so far angrier at other people, at other ex-boyfriends.
Then tell me who could have done this. Who did this?
I don't know, but if I go to trial for this, and if I'm convicted for this, whoever did this is going to be sitting very pretty somewhere. Glad that it wasn't them.
And it's my job to make sure that an innocent person does not go to jail. But I don't see an innocent person sitting in front of me.
Travis has done a lot for me, and I wouldn't hurt him. He introduced the gospel to me.
Why is everybody saying that you are capable of hurting him? Everybody says it.
I don't know why anyone.
So don't tell me that
capable.
you're not capable.
I don't even hurt spiders.
Bullshit.
I kicked a dog once. I was a freshman in high school, and I love animals. And we had this dog, his name was Doggy Boy, and my parents, until this dog that they have now, have never been able to, and I don't mean just them, we as a family have never been able to care for a dog properly as far as give it attention and take it for walks and be consistent.
To save you the oncoming ramble about Doggy Boy the dog, she lightly tapped him with her foot for tearing open the trash, and she's felt so bad ever since that it changed her entire worldview on the animal kingdom. She now apologizes to the dog, through the detective, who's conducting her interrogation for first-degree murder.
Yeah. Thank you, JCS, for bringing us back to reality of the situation. It's like, what the fuck? You're being accused of murder, lady.
You just refuse.
I'm sorry for pausing, but think about that. If you were being accused of murder and you did not do it, the last thing you would be doing would be going off on a tangent about your views on animal rights. You'd be like, I did not do this. I want a lawyer. I did not do this. Why won't anyone believe me? And just rinse, repeat the entire time.
Yeah, I can't help you anymore if you're not gonna help yourself.
You asked
I
me
really
prior.
can't. I can't, Jodi.
It's fascinating to observe how fast she can switch from one emotion to the next once she realizes a particular strategy hasn't worked. The attempt at elevating her character by expressing how much she cares for spiders and pets hasn't seemed to have any effect on the detective, so she then switches her disposition from sorrowful to analytical, as she once more tries to manipulate his perception of her.
If I did anything that
One
had
second.
anything to do
I'm
with
gonna get
his death in any way,
a
It's
beer.
not if to me.
I wouldn't.
It's not if. It's not if at all.
Well, to me it is. I would be more than remorseful.
Is it maybe something you're blocking out of your head?
I don't think so. I mean, I tend to write everything down. I just finished the book The Road Less Traveled. And you
I
said
have not tried this beer before.
the true definition of sanity is dedication to reality at all costs.
Oh, this is.
It's Shiner Strawberry Blonde. I've never had it before, so I'm trying it for the first time. Let's see how it goes.
Definitely reality. We are sitting here inside of
Snap back to reality.
the sheriff's department, and you are facing first-degree murder charges.
What is the
And you
difference?
are going to be booked into jail, and eventually you will be brought back to Arizona, and you will stand trial. That's the reality. And once you realize that, I think you'll be better for it.
I've had worse issues with other people. They're all still alive. I'm still friends with my ex-boyfriends. They're all still alive.
By that logic, a murderer could just be like, look at all of the other 7 billion people on this planet that I haven't killed. Come on. Come on.
You know, I've been doing this a long time, and there's one thing that I can never get out of my head. Ever since the first year I talked to you, there's an old saying that, you know, someone's just not acting right. Look into it. You have not acted right from day one.
Hey, Jen.
You're just not acting right, Jodi. You're acting like somebody who's guilty.
How so?
You tell me. I know because I've been doing it a long time. It's
It's
taken
not
me a
that I
long
don't.
time to figure it out. But within the first 30 seconds to a minute of a conversation, I know when somebody's acting right. There's a certain way people act.
How did I act
Okay,
that would
it's not
make you
like
think?
it's not like TV. It's not anything like that. It's not what you see in the movies.
Is it because I'm not crying?
Would it help if I cried?
It's not because of that.
What is it? I mean, I'm not going to change how I act.
No,
so
obviously
just
you can't
make-
change the way you're
No, I
acting.
mean, I am who I am.
Okay,
but-
you're sincere in the way you're acting, but
Well, how is
you're just not telling the truth.
How is it different?
Well, it's not really something you need to focus on anymore.
After Jodi failed her attempts to extract inside knowledge on the best way to behave in order to appear innocent, she then attempts to explain why she hasn't been able to appear innocent.
It's not that I'm not remorseful that he died. The reason I hesitate is because maybe this is something that's wrong with me psychologically, is I think of the butterfly effect. And it's like, you could say that the guy pumping gas down at the gas station could have potentially, because you see all these movies, these funky movies where it's like this affected this, which affected this, which affected this,
Well,
if he had never done this.
I know if you had never met him, he'd probably still be alive.
That's true.
That's because you killed him.
I know that if you'd never met him, he'd probably still be alive. Nicely played, detective.
No, I just can't admit to something that I didn't do. If it would help my case and give me an easier sentence, I know that people plead guilty for those things.
No, and I don't want you to do that. That is the absolute last thing I want.
I wish that I had answers. I'm sorry. There's just no reason. There's just no reason.
There's no good reason why this happened. There's never a good reason why somebody dies like this.
This seems to be the moment Jodi fully confronts the reality of her situation. The anguish she has over her own fate will become visible, yet she will now disguise this anguish as grief over Travis's death. She does this by posing a question.
How many times was Travis stabbed?
More than I want to remember. I think you're feeling the reality in the moment now.
Travis's family is gonna miss out on the truck. There's just no reason I would ever want to hurt him.
All I know is that I need a story or else it's just cold. It's so cold. But without the truth, I can't paint another picture. And it's going to be up to the prosecutor to paint that picture. And if you want that prosecutor, and I've met him, and you don't want him painting that picture.
I have to maintain my innocence. I can't admit to doing something that I haven't done. There's just no
Well, I
reason.
have more work to do.
Can you give me a rundown of what's gonna happen from here when you leave?
Yeah, you're,
Like, just today, for example.
well, you'll probably be taken across the street to the county jail.
I'm sticking with blood, Taco.
This is a really trivial question, and it's gonna reveal how shallow I am. But before they book me, can I clean myself up a little bit?
You're going to be taken the way you are. I can't give you anything.
Wow! The audacity.
And handcuffs everywhere.
Yeah!
It's just procedure.
Yeah!
Whether you wrote a bad check or you're facing...
You're accused of murder, lady!
Can't go in handcuffs.
Should have at least done your makeup, Jodi. Gosh. I didn't hear you breathe. I wonder how am I still here? And I can't breathe. I didn't hear you breathe. Goodness.
I got no idea.
He knows our need. Still beating.
Jodi was then taken to the county jail and charged with the murder of Travis Alexander. She stayed there overnight, and it would be a total of 16 hours before she was taken back to the Siskiyou County Sheriff's Office. Her second interrogation commenced at approximately 9:30 a.m.
I mean, self-soothing, I guess?
Remember in the winter.
Alright. If you want to go ahead and stand up for me. As I take these cuffs off, just go ahead and put your hands down at the waist, okay?
The game plan for this second interrogation will be a lot more strategic. Investigators will have studied the footage the day prior and will now have a greater understanding of Jodi's personality. The initial tactic is for Detective Blaney to criticize and berate the suspect's character while simultaneously reinforcing fear and apprehension. She makes it very clear from the offset that the suspect's fabricated naivety and sickly sweet persona will not work on this occasion, and Jodi's self-esteem will be broken down in a manner that would typically be considered bullying or abuse under different circumstances.
Probably.
This is done so that when Detective Flores returns, it will be a welcome relief, and an immediate rapport will then be attained, which in turn will make the suspect far more likely to cooperate. It's a derivative of good cop, bad cop, and the two investigators execute this technique in a near-perfect manner. Detective Blaney's time with the suspect is essentially a non-stop psychological onslaught, which is sometimes executed in a passive manner, while other times in a far more direct manner. During the latter stages of the bad cop procedure, Jodi will be asked if she would prefer to speak with Detective Flores instead. This question is posed a total of 5 times, and only on the 5th time will Jodi finally give in and admit that she would. This will give her the impression that when Detective Flores finally returns, it was all her doing, rather than a calculated and prearranged strategy.
Okay.
The voice recorder isn't actually for the purpose of recording the conversation. It is a prop to reinforce the perception of Detective Blaney being the enemy, and not to be trusted. You'll notice that when Detective Flores returns, this device will be switched off, therefore reinforcing the idea that he is the friend who can be trusted.
Today's date is July 16th, and my name is Detective
Honestly, that's brilliant, in my opinion.
Rachel Blaney, and I'm here with Jodi Arias. Is that how you say your last name? Arias. Okay, I'm sorry. This is just formality, and this is, you know, if I have to, you know, write up a report of what we talked about, at least I know word for word, you know, what you said, and there's no mistakes. Okay. The reason that I wanted to talk with you this morning, there's a couple of reasons, actually. Let me say this. It's obvious to me that, you know, you're not our typical suspect. You know, you come from a good home, a good family. Your parents obviously care about you. That was evident, you know, when they talked to him yesterday. And you're a bright girl. Probably more intelligent than you were letting on yesterday.
Yeah.
And there's no question in my mind or any of the other investigators' mind that you were the person that took Travis's life. But what I need to know, or what I'd like to know, and give you the opportunity to do, is determine whether, you know, you're a cold-blooded, cold-hearted murderer who slaughtered this guy, or are you somebody that got caught up in circumstances and things got out of control? When this hits the news, and it will, it'll go to the media, do you want to be portrayed as that cold-blooded, cold-hearted murderer? Because the media loves that. I'm trying to help you out. I'm trying to give you a chance to make things right.
Damn it!
You know, show the families that you do have some remorse. But when you continue to deny when it's obvious that that's not the case, you appear to be the cold-blooded killer. And things are going to start moving real fast here for you. This is kind of a pause, you know, before things, you know, start getting heavy. This is your opportunity to help yourself out. We don't need you to tell us anything. I'm doing this for you. It's a matter of, do you want to take control of your situation and paint the picture of who you are? Because you're the only one that knows that.
The professional ruthlessness of this investigator is quite astonishing. The demeaning and sarcastic tone she manages to superimpose over straight facts is gripping to witness.
You know,
I love this detective because he's like, you know you're fucked. We know you're fucked. The question is, are you just going to go in with a clean conscience?
Was it a matter of, like I said,
either way, you're fucked.
Travis building some sort of what you thought was some sort of relationship, you know, were you hoping for marriage? Is this something that you were hoping for? Was he leading you down that path? You know, did he take advantage of you? Were there promises made that were broken? Did he betray your trust in some way? I don't know. Only you know that. This is not going to go away anytime soon for you, Jodi. You know, you're a young woman, just starting your life. You had a lot going for you. You should be fighting for yourself right now. And you let this eat at you. And it's going to destroy you. Or change you in a way that you wouldn't want.
Jodi manages to veer off on trivial aspects of her and Travis's relationship that paint her in a positive light. Officer Blaney makes it very clear that she has far less patience than Officer Flores. With what appears to be a very sympathetic tone, she will snap the suspect's focus back to the element of the murder.
As much as I love Travis, I just have always, there's something inside that says he's not the guy you're going to marry.
So then what was it? What was it that led up to all of this? I mean, there's got to be something. So I honestly don't believe that, you know, that you're cold-hearted and you would just go and just, you know, kill somebody on a whim. That doesn't fit your profile. So what was it that led up to that? You know, you tell me. You tell them. You tell, you know, Travis's family. I'm just trying to fill in the holes there, you know, and just kind of guessing about the emotions. You know, what was it that would make you, you know, so angry or upset?
Once Jodi is forcefully brought back to reality, she all of a sudden has nothing to say. The passive yet disparaging tone of the detective must be a very hard thing for an individual to have to sit there and take, especially someone who has used their fabricated sweet nature to their advantage most of their life in order to avoid these types of situations.
Yep.
And if you're smart, you'll realize that, you know, you're not going to get a whole lot of other chances to do this, probably none. Once the wheels start turning, they move real fast. And you will be out of control then. You know, I'm a spiritual person myself, and I don't think that I would want that, you know, inside of me. I wouldn't want all of the ugliness of the lies inside of me. Take a minute just to think about what I said.
Finally.
Jodi is clearly exhausted and terrified. She, at this moment, was being observed by both Detective Blaney and Detective Flores in another room, and they even contemplated having Detective Flores enter at this moment. They ultimately decided against it, however, and Detective Blaney re-enters the room to maximize this state of dejection. The pressure will now be increased to a considerable degree.
Ramp it up, ramp it up.
Maybe I did have a wrong picture of you.
So that the inevitable crash is that much harder.
All of this time that you and I have been talking, and I got information from your other interview, you are talking about insignificant
Night noodler, I do that at work every day.
You're talking about
terrible,
things. You're
but
talking about
relatable.
But
I'm just
you're talking about
just people I care about.
You're talking about everything but how bad you feel about Travis. You only respond to my questions.
If I murdered
specifically
Travis,
about
I would be
Travis.
very remorseful.
I think that I've gotten the wrong picture of you. I think that, you know, maybe I was wrong. Maybe you are that cold-blooded person that they're trying to portray. And, you know, I'm just really confused. At this point, you know, maybe
Joshua, I'm at 104.
Anything that you can do to help yourself. You know, maybe I was wrong. Maybe you're not as intelligent as I thought you were.
Damn.
Maybe I was wrong. I don't know what else to do for you here, Jodi. I'm kind of at the end of my rope. You're not going to get a whole lot of people that are trying to help you out along the way beyond this point. And what I'm hearing is somebody who doesn't give a rip about what happened. I'm hearing somebody that's worried about money, your appearance, everything about you. I don't hear anything about Travis unless you're specifically asked. How do you think that looks?
Listen.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't care so much.
No, you listen. You are not grasping the reality here, Jill.
I think the court, Deacon says, real quick, I wanted to make this point. Deacon says, fun fact, after you've been read your rights, we don't have to ask if you want a lawyer again. That's generally true. There actually has been a SCOTUS case that discussed, like, how long between interrogations does the police have to remind the suspect of their rights. I don't think the court, there's never a hardline rule, right? But I think it all depends on the situation in that, you know, in the sense of, if you bring somebody in, read them their rights, and interview them, but then let them go, and then, you know, say, for example, 3 days later, you bring them back in for a second interview, the court, I believe the court would say, you would need to read their rights that in that second time. Because there's enough of a detachment between the first and second points of interview that would warrant the police to remind them of their rights. When it comes to an interrogation like this, like if it's the next day, I don't think so. Or if it's a couple hours in between interviews, the cops don't have to remind you of your rights.
You are acting like the person that I portrayed.
But also, yes, Deacon's also correct. Like, the cops could tell you your rights, but they don't have to explicitly ask if you want to talk to a lawyer. You have to invoke that right yourself upon that understanding.
The ugly, cold-blooded murderer.
Every time Jodi breaks down, the detective immediately focuses on Travis's family. She makes it abundantly clear that she has absolutely no sympathy for the suspect despite her best efforts.
I know Travis's family is struggling with why, and that would be the one thing that would give them closure. They may never like you, but I think that they would be appreciative of why their son's life was taken. I know if it was my child, that's what I would want. And I know that you're not a mother, but all women have those mothering instincts within them. And I think that you can understand that, what I'm saying.
Patty, yes. Patty asked, if they bring you in for a second interview, can they just ask if you remember your rights from the previous interview? Yes, I have seen that before, and that's been considered acceptable.
Was I off base, Jodi?
Could you be clear?
Sure.
Yes, Scott, well, right, Scott, the cop will ask, do you understand those rights? And if you say yes, then that's it. They can go straight into the interview. They don't have to ask you if you want to remain silent, or they don't have to ask you if you wanted a lawyer.
This is going to be out in the open right now.
Once you say that you understand the rights that they have told you, the cops can go straight into the interview. All right, sorry for
at this point that your pride
talking
matters
over.
more than Travis's family's grief. This is your chance to make at least something right. Even if it's on a small scale, it's a big deal to his folks. This is your opportunity to make right on some of your selfishness.
I wasn't angry at Travis. Everyone keeps saying whoever did this was so angry.
Yeah. Crimes of passion usually involve that. Like I forgot to mention this before in the first interview, where she's like, there's no way I could have done this. I had no reason to. Lady, I have the feeling, I'm sure there's statistics on this, but I imagine jealousy is one of the top rated motivations for murder in this country, if not ever. Like jealousy. I imagine envy is one of the top motivators for murder out there, beyond greed and others. The only other one I can think of that in the top category is greed, but jealousy has to be up there.
Were you jealous?
I love it, Nathan. This is a great game. Crimes of passion, exactly.
Was he expecting you to come over that day?
He wanted me to. I told him I wasn't going to.
So was it a surprise that you actually showed up?
Jodi prepares to set off on another tangent about photography, but gets shut down right away. The detective doesn't allow her thoughts to keep wandering off on something unrelated as a means for attaining a brief distraction from reality.
I got pictures of him once shaving, and then he was already weird about that.
Well, Jodi, when you say things like that, it's obvious to me that you don't want to do the right thing for the family. You don't want to unburden yourself. You don't want to give them closure. And you're jerking my chain. And I don't appreciate my chain being jerked. I'm tired of playing games. I'm tired of skirting around it. I thought that it
Joshua,
would be
I have never heard, I haven't seen the stats on that. I couldn't tell you.
Sometimes it is. But unless you're willing to give me something, then I can't do anything for you. After today, things are going to go so fast for you. You're going to be totally out of control of the situation. The wheels of justice will start turning. I understand that you're afraid and that you're horrified about that person within you that could do something like that. But it happened, and it's a done deal, and you did. At least you can do is tell the family how it happened so they can understand why. I mean, do you think you're going to get this opportunity again to sit down and just have a free-form discussion? There's not going to be any situation or place that's going to make it any easier for you. This is as good as it gets for you right now. Would you rather talk to him? If you do, you know, that's fine, and I'm sure that he'd be willing to talk with you again. Or would you rather continue talking with me? It's up to you.
The hell are these little thingies?
I don't really have a preference, I guess.
I don't know what it is that's going on inside your head right now. I don't know whether you're weighing the odds, trying to figure out how you can save your own skin here. Don't you think that it's going to make just a little bit of difference inside yourself as far as that closure goes, if you know that the family at least has something? And if you're not going to do that today with me right now, I'm just going to send you back across the street. Because we've been in here for a while. And I don't have, the entire day.
Jesus
I guess my
Christ.
patience are running a little thin. And if you think you're feeling grief over this whole incident, think about how they feel. For once, think about somebody else. And if you want to talk to Detective Flores as opposed to me, you can do that. Like I said, I thought it would be easier for you to talk to a woman.
I kind of do want to talk to him because he has been in contact with Travis's family a lot.
Okay.
I don't know if that would make any difference, but I know that he already talks to them on a regular basis.
Yeah, and I'm sure that, he has somewhat of a relationship with them. So I'll go see if he's...
Yeah, I'm not trying to stall or anything, but I've got to go to the bathroom again. Can we go?
Yeah.
Well, Rachel called me and told me that you wanted to talk to me.
Of course he does.
Okay.
Here's the good cop.
It does to me.
Thank you, but it doesn't matter. What matters is how his family is here.
I told you yesterday I've been doing this for a long time, and you're absolutely right. The person's family who was hurt, they're obviously hurting. But there's a second family that hurts as well. And in this case, it's your family.
Oh no.
The objective of good cop, bad cop seems to have worked. A higher level of trust and rapport seems to now be established.
Ah, the
Jodi
game!
pours out her emotion as the detective offers a sympathetic and understanding tone. But then something very interesting happens.
I think the game crashed on me. Fuck!
Once she composes herself, she for some reason requests to see the photos of Travis. Not before, but after he was murdered. Many could think she is attempting to gain some sort of depraved satisfaction from seeing them. Yet going off how the rest of this interrogation plays out, it's more likely that she is trying to gather information, or at least confirm something in the photographs, before she amends her new narrative.
This is more of a selfish reason. I think it might give me some sense of closure. I know it's kind of morbid. I don't even think I really deserve closure.
What is it you want to know about the photos? Do you want to see the room?
Where are we?
Do you want to see the bathroom, or do you want to see him?
Okay, yeah, we are at the hour point. This is about a 2-hour event, but I guess we can wrap up here. But there's plenty more left with Jodi, but I think I might as well just call it here. Damn it. We'll stop here. Mandy, I think we have a fair couple of super chats to go through. Mandy?
Yes.
Oh. Do we have super chats?
Yes. Okay. I'm pulling them up. They were not. Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. Doug Donahue sent a $2 super chat. Almost 10K man. You're awesome and you deserve it.
Thank you.
Cameo Stark sent a $5 super chat. The gaming React Fusion content is honestly my favorite. I hope you keep it up after 10K. Loki sends messages of world domination to the boys.
Aw. I'm sure they appreciate that.
Casey Carey sent a $1.99 super chat. Thank you so much. Joshua Lee sent a $5 super chat. There goes gravity.
Yeah, exactly.
And
yep. Sorry.
if there was another one, I don't see anymore.
I don't see one either. I'm looking at the the alerts too.
Okay.
All right. So tomorrow I'm going to see if my brother wants to come in again. I don't know if my parents are still visiting. But if he's unable to do a collaboration tomorrow, then we'll finish up with Jodi. There will not be a stream on Tuesday. I am going to see The Batman with some friends on Tuesday, so there won't be a stream then. So if I don't see you guys tomorrow, I will see you guys on Monday. All right. We're getting close. We're almost there. I know. We're almost there. Almost there. All right. Thanks, guys. Always appreciate your support. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Take care. Bye-bye.
A simp, not a simp.